And we're back. Game number 2 of this leadoff best of 3, kicking off D2L Season 5. LV Gaming taking on LGD.CDEC, and LV absolutely dominating CDEC in Game 1. To help lend the insight and analysis, break down what happened and what we can expect looking ahead, welcome in once again, Trouf. Trouf, my friend, what can you say? LV, like you said, they seem to get the better of the laning phase, and they never really looked back, just taking it to CDEC.
They had a very strong early game lineup, and they played to that strength of their team. And similarly, though, or conversely, I should say, I don't think LGD had a very strong early game. Not to mention, I don't think that their draft in general was as good as LV Gaming's was. I think I mentioned this, the weird interaction between having a jungle Sand King taking stacks and the Bat Rider in a team just seems awkward. They also had a safe lane Void, which is okay, but because they couldn't zone out effectively, the puck, it didn't really work out. And when you have a safe lane Void, or honestly a safe lane carry at all for that matter, and your only other core is a hero in mid that's getting way too much pressure, that just leads to a disaster. And that's what happened. They got too much pressure on their TA mid. They either needed to protect him more, but then again, they couldn't do that with the support they had, right? They needed better supports to protect possible ganks of mid. So I think LV Gaming not only had a better draft, but just their play was just much more clean than LGD.CDEC was, I'd have to say.
Well, it kind of comes down to something you were alluding to, which is they were kind of greedy in their draft. I mean, you have a TA who really demands a good start to be able to have the impact that she really needed to have later on. But then you had the Sand King and the Bad Rider on the same side. You know, usually you can say, well, if one's doing poorly in lane or whatever, or even if you're doing well, just go in the jungle, get a quick blink. But instead, they were kind of alternating in and out. So now you have 3 heroes. The Sand King did what he could to try to retreat and make things happen to protect the TA and so on and so on. But in the end, just not enough to go around. And the Slark, you know, really the power of that pick showing itself in stark fashion in that last game, and the fact that Slark's one of those heroes that even if he doesn't farm well, and he was basically free farming, so it's a non-issue that time, but he can roam, he can gank, and we saw a little bit of both sides of that coming up from LV, and in the end, the momentum, the sheer amount of punching power they had was just too much to overcome. So interesting draft. Looks to be another fun one as we're going to see the Skywrath and the DP, but Spirit Breaker picked up a 3rd position by LV. In the meantime, CDEC grabs, looks like last patch actually, Brewmaster and Razor, but with a Shadow Demon too, and now the tree.
It looks like it might be an offlane SB then. I thought it was going to be a 4 position, but with the tree, that leads me to believe it'd be an offlane Spirit Breaker. I actually like Spirit Breaker a little bit more as a 4, but I'll talk about that in a second. I do have to say, though, that I can't completely count out the help that CDEC had for their mid player, because I remember that one gank that they had on the TA, and there was literally 5 heroes in response, or 4 other heroes in response to help her. But when you're contributing your entire team to a gank for your mid hero at 6 minutes, it doesn't seem to be that effective if you only trade 1 for 1. So
right.
But yeah, Spirit Breaker. Oh man, it's funny because I was actually just going to say how we have Death Prophet, Skywrath, Brewmaster, Razor picked up on both sides. I'm like, this is like all last patch. Nobody's diving into anything new.
Yep.
Now we finally have a Spirit Breaker. And I was just thinking, if there's any hero that teams should be picking up, it's Spirit Breaker, because he got such a huge buff in the last patch. And I love to see this hero. I think he's extremely powerful right now.
I was going to say, why don't you talk about that? I mean, obviously, we're coming down the last picks. We want to get to that. But Spirit Breaker, he's one of those heroes that's always been popular in pubs. And, you know, it seems like, and this is something that is always speculation, but one of the challenges with the way the hero works mechanically is you always want to balance. And, of course, Ice Frog has made a career, literally, of being the king of balance in competitive gaming. You always want to balance for the top end, and he does that immaculately. But sometimes you do have to at least lend an eye and pay a little attention to how broken something that maybe at the top end is totally normal, but if it's really easy to execute with huge payoff, how much it can break the rest of your player base. The other 99% of us that hover in the trench, hover in the trench, that makes sense, who are face down in the trench.
We're all in the trench.
Oh, yeah. The trench is 4,000 MMR wide, man. But, anyway. But yeah, talk to me about that Spirit Breaker. I mean, he still has some of the same issues that kept him basically true bottom tier for the months leading up to and even after TI4. But what do you think makes him so strong at this current state of things?
Well, the one reason why he fell out before was they nerfed his ult pretty large in a pretty large way. before you used to be able to cast it, it would just never stop. Like you could always hit him with it, but now you can get fogged with it. So that's still there, and that's still annoying. But
Right.
the biggest change is the 12-second duration to your charge. Yeah, it resets when you hit the target, but dude, it doesn't matter. It comes up all the time, and it's always ready. Not to mention, more times than not, if you're playing Spirit Breaker correctly, you're just constantly charging, right? You're always charging, and then halfway through, you're like, okay, I have to cancel because it's not going to work out, and that's just the way it is. But then it resets right then, so it's not like you're always going to hit, and you have to wait an extra 10, 12 seconds after it hits. You can cancel it. They don't even know you've canceled it most of the time, and the cooldown is so fast, man. It really is. You might think it might not be that long because you have to wait till after it stops, but it's really fast. And then they also buffed the second spell. I don't remember the name of it.
Empowering Haste.
Yeah, they buffed that as it gave it an activation, and they buffed something else with it. I think they just tweaked the numbers to buff it in general too. But either way, a lot of his skills got buffed. And on top of that, there's a couple of things. Is the change to Urn? I think indirectly buffs him too, because this is a very strong Urn carrier. Yeah. And whenever you have a hero that's just a strong Urn carrier, I think it just any buff to Urn was an indirect buff to those heroes. So I think all around, and hopefully we can see it this game, I think Spirit Breaker is a very, very strong pick in this meta.
Yeah, I want to see him played more. He's one of those heroes that always feels like he has the potential. You know, there are only a handful of heroes in the game that feel like they can just break a game wide open with good instincts, good playmaking, and just being in the right place at the right time, you know, having excellent map awareness. And he's certainly atop that list. You just haven't gotten to see him all that much. You have to go all the way back to like pre-TI3 when you saw teams like Team Liquid back then running him fairly frequently. But anyway, looks like it's going to be all quiet on both sides. We do have CDEC in position to challenge for the top rune at the moment, but while we have time, about 25 seconds now, let's go ahead and take a look at the lineups as the players have tacked up appropriately this time. On CDEC, they're going to have Q playing on our Leshrac, the Tidehunter, going to be handled by 333. Back over next to that Lesh, it's going to be Garter playing on the Shadow Demon, and I am just calling them by what they've tagged up as. These are apparently the names they want to be known as. And yeah, in CDEC, going to have, I'm actually not sure who that is as it's written in Chinese characters. Maybe you can enlighten me. And maybe playing on the Brewmaster, hold that thought, as we will see a bit of a challenge for the bounty, perhaps. Nope, just going to go ahead and give it to the Shadow Demon. Down at bottom, there is that Haste Rune. Other side of the river, again, LV leading this best of 3, 1-0. They're going to have Lin playing on our Spirit Breaker. The tree going to be handled by Demons, who was really great on the Enigma last game. Inflame going mid now on the Death Prophet. It'll be DDC playing on our Skywrath Mage, and the Morphling going to be farmed up by ZYF.
Very interesting lanes here. There is no waveform right now from Morphling, so, and it is an aggro triad. The one thing I will say that this matchup bottom is going to be pretty horrendous for Lin. He went for boots
hold
first.
On, action top. Split Earth off the mark. He could have probably secured an easy first, but now, though, maybe he's in trouble down to 1/4 of his health. And yeah, that was actually just a big misplay. I'm not sure if it was a miscommunication or, you know, maybe lack of, I don't want to say lack of experience.
Was there a disruption?
Yeah, disruption led it off and Q missed. Just flat out missed. Maybe rushed right with the chin, right into all three, and was ready to follow the Split Earth with a clap.
And it was on, which hero? Was it on the Skywrath?
Skywrath. Yeah, that was on DDC.
That should have been a kill. He has absolutely no armor, 0 at level 1. So he dies pretty fast. He did have a leech seed from Treant to help heal him up a little bit, but I don't think that's going to do enough. So, unfortunate right there. There's another attempt here on the Morphling, though, but he can strength gain.
Got him that time. Strength gain helping him out, but not enough. First blood drawn by CDEC, and maybe just so tanky. Both times they tried to do that. Now Demons is actually down very low, down to 1/4 health, healing himself up with a Tango, and clarities across the board. But yeah, the kill potential here is huge. You know it is. And how do you deal with this if you're LV?
Well, I think they can deal with it a bit better. They can be smarter. I feel like the Morphling player right there, he thought he could strength gain a little bit faster than he did. It's only level 1, so it doesn't come up that fast. So I thought he was okay. I bet he thought he was okay to be able to take that, but he just simply wasn't. He needs to play a little more safe. I still think they'll be fine in this tri-lane, but again, I think the problem is this bottom lane. Like, Tide versus a Spirit Breaker who bought boots first. This is probably going to be very difficult for this Spirit Breaker. I'm looking at the numbers, and actually Spirit Breaker's even.
Yeah.
I did not expect this to happen. I feel like Tide should be doing much better in this lane. So,
well, I mean, it makes sense. He's kind of tanky to begin with. you know, so long as he's just watching for the anchor smash, and Tide doesn't want to shove the lane all that hard, so he's not just going to anchor smash for no reason in a situation where he shouldn't need to. And yeah, Lin just able to keep himself at a safe distance. In the meantime, up at top, we're going to have more action. Lesh caught from behind, hit with a concussive shot. Leech Seed is there. There's a disruption. Defensively, let's see if it's enough. No, he's trapped. Got off the split earth, and I was going to say surely not, but ZYF did have enough mana for the waveform to help clean things up that time, make it 1-1.
Yeah, I actually still favor this tri-lane top, especially when they get levels. Treant's going to protect anybody who gets disrupted once you get more levels in the living armor. It was just a small mishap from ZYF. As he is going to get both those last hits. I was trying to get sniped off by the Shadow Demon, so good surgence of gold there from Morphling. I still feel like this... Okay, it's starting to... Well, no, he has a full wave and a half coming his way. I still feel like Lin should not be doing this well bottom. He does have good damage, and he bought a Quelling Blade actually because he notices that his damage is high. But I still have to give it to him. He's doing very, very well in this bottom lane. He's going to heal right now. I expect him maybe to charge, perhaps even mid. Not quite sure, but no, actually Inflame is actually low on mana, so we'll have to wait and see what he wants to do. Maybe even charge his top. Who knows?
Yeah, I was thinking top. I mean, you've got two squishies. And like you said, the combat potential of LV's defensive tri-lane already showing itself very, very well. So if they can just get a little bit of a surprise on them, I mean, no doubt the communication will be there. They're going to know he's gone. And we'll see if he wants to charge or if he's just going to walk on back the lane. Who do you think is really benefiting the most here? Tidehunter, obviously a hero who does phenomenally well when given early levels and easy gold like this. Do you think he's the big winner? Do you think it's more important the Spirit Breaker get that early start? It will be a charge, by the way, heading towards mid.
Yeah, this shouldn't be a kill. There is a haste rune on DP, but this should not be a kill. He's probably going to just hit him and then run away or something. Yeah, definitely Tide favors more, though, to answer your question. Like, Spirit Breaker, he's good as far as creating chaos around the map and charging in the mid to early game, but as far as just getting farm, Tide is so much better. Like, nothing can really beat, in this matchup, Spirit Breaker getting any kind of items that would beat a double Ravage from Tide. So definitely Tide is now benefiting.
Disruption. Leshrac could be in trouble. Follow-ups there on the mark. There's the clap to follow. DDC should end up dead here. Demons is in trouble as well, but a lot of damage being done to one. Shadow Demon ends up being traded away. It's a 1-for-1 support exchange. Now maybe has to back off. Just level 4. Thought we might see a... Nope, never mind. It already used the Leech Seed, so unable to follow it up. But 1-for-1 exchange there. And really, that's not what you want to be, especially when you have your Lesh run out of lane as well. You know, CDEC is doing okay here, but you don't want to be giving up kills. You want to make sure that if you're taking a fight, you're the only one who's notching anything worthwhile.
I think Treant could have played a little bit more aggressively there, too. He backed off a little bit, and his right clicks pack a punch, man. 91 damage per hit, so... But nonetheless, even 1-for-1 trades, I think, are fine for LV. I think the Morphling is going to benefit a lot greater from a farm than the Panda is, at least in this try-v-try situation.
Charge coming mid. They've got a Skywrath Mage there to go, and yep, they're going to go all at once. There's a concussive shot, slows him down, and the Ancient Seal there to silence him out. Let's see if they've got the damage. Follow-up is there. And one last Crypt Swarm secures the kill for Inflame on that Death Prophet. Being able to bring down a Razor like that at this level, at this early spot in the game, so important. So really nice usage of the charge and really good rotation from DDC.
He's charging back bottom. He's going to cancel that and grab a rune. I still feel like ignoring this problem bottom could be really bad for them. Like, it was relatively even CS early on, but Tidehunter's just taking off right now. He's going to the races with 40 CS.
Up in mid, Inflame, counter gank. Make it 1-for-1 over about the last 75 seconds or so. They almost killed maybe a top as well. If the tree had been in position to get off Leech Seed, would have been a for certain kill, as he is not even level 5, let alone level 6. Now they're going to go on in waveform with a concussive shot. He's been silenced, and the kill goes again to ZYF. He's on a killing spree. That is not what you want out of an aggro try. It's fine to get kills, but if you're giving the enemy Morphling that kind of a start, not really worth your time or effort.
Yeah, absolutely. And we talk so much about the duration of silence and the Ancient Seal, but one thing that doesn't get mentioned too much is the increased magic damage, which is 35% at level 2. And that waveform did a lot of damage as a result. So, yeah, good counter kills. And despite the fact that this Tide is free farming, they're doing very well up in this top lane.
CDEC now moving up as 3. Let's see if they can find anyone. That Brood desperately needs a level 6. His start has been okay-ish, I guess. He's got up treads, but miles away from a Blink Dagger, if that's the direction he wants to go, and almost certainly it will be. But Yeah, I mean, we'll take a look at efficiency in a minute. I feel like anything could happen at this bottom lane with Lin at level 6, almost level 7, and 333 having a Ravage up. There's going to be a teleport to top. Let's see if they want to do something with the Sky Wrath. Maybe he's way out there. He's going to be caught with a little bit of damage, but able to withdraw. So it looks like it's going to be quiet, but when do you think that tide's going to get active? It should be pretty soon, although he is only about 700 gold away from a Blink Dagger.
Well, I don't think he should make an effort to go up there and Ravage unless he's smoked. Unless if they pressure them at the tower, then he can TP as a counter gank. But as far as forcing the issue, I think he should either A, wait for his smoke, or B, wait for his blink. And since he's so close to his blink, I would just say, just keep farming down here, wait for your blink. Just signal to the rest of your team, don't do anything crazy. I'm very close to my blink, we can fight then.
Well, looks like everyone else on that same page with you. The Spirit Breaker looked like he wanted to charge mid and broke it off halfway. A little bit of trading of the pain at top. ZYF at this point is sitting at 3-1-0. So been a great start for him. And that Brewmaster finally inching in towards level 6. At bottom, Blink now just a couple hundred gold away for that Tidehunter.
Yep, another charge bottom, but that's just there to get to the lane faster. But yeah, as soon as they get this this Blink up onto Tide, it'll be the same time Brew gets the 6. And they should definitely force fights right then. I think they'll be much stronger in those fights at that time. Skywrath isn't going to offer too much in 5v5 engagements. He's actually relatively weak in 5v5 engagements, especially with an AoE Ravage. There is an aggressive smoke possibly coming out onto the Razor. If they can coordinate this with a charge from Lin, it could be possibly an easy kill, but nope, actually the Razor is backing off for the time being. Suspects, and got word actually from top that perhaps the supports were missing.
DDC and Demon still continuing to hang around. There's the Blink on the Tide. It looks like they still want to take their shot. And let's see if they can catch him.
Ty needs to be ready to TP like right now. TP.
There we go. TPs, 2 of them, and the ulti pop by Inflamed. This is going to be nothing worthwhile at all. Spinning the ulti, even the Tide was there. So bringing them from everywhere. And now we'll see if they want to make something happen mid or if they just want to go ahead and scatter and go back to the laning phase. At top, finally, the Brewmaster just hit level 6, so his ability to TP or to make something happen on his own going to be going up as well. And he's really not far away from a Blink either, so even though I'm sure they wanted that top lane to go a little bit better, they can't complain too much about the state of things, at least with that Brewmaster. Now, DDC caught in the river. Let's see if they can follow him up. He's doing what damage he can, but the haste room picked up. Demons is there. They're going to try to turn it around. Split Earth caught them both. Let's see if they can make something happen. Demons eating that in the mouth. Got off the leech seed. Doesn't matter as Razor was there to help pursue. DDC making his way up along top. Has help on the way, but it could be Save Your Buddy syndrome. Let's see. Yeah.
There's a charge.
CYF. Yep, they're going to try to come in and make something happen here. We're going to see the Razor TPing out. There's a waveform. Only caught one. However, the Lesh likely to die. There's a disruption as well. And they got one. Will they get the Lesh managing to make it away just by the skin of his teeth. But he's still hanging around. And here comes ZYF. He's got to be careful. He could die very quickly to a waveform. He's got the mana.
There is a charge again. He actually spotted him with the ward that they have placed right there.
Yep.
Unless he can get a well-timed stunner, he's got to do it right now.
Nope.
Nope, he couldn't get it. It was actually some really big miscommunication right there. Lin, he went for the charge and wanted to get the biggest bang for his buck, so he charged the Lesh, ultied someone else, thinking that someone could just hit the Lesh, but nobody did. And the Lesh just walked away, but able to rectify that problem with the nice vision there from that lane ward. So, well played.
Looked like he reared back to kick him in the mouth.
Yeah.
But 5-6 as we're past 10 minutes now. And let's take a look at the efficiency. Kills relatively even. We can see it's a little bit of a gold lead at the moment for CDEC, so they're going to be happy about that. One issue I think they might have, though, is that Morphling is now atop the net worth. And hang on, mid. Inflame in some trouble again. They've got 3 there, and yeah, he's going nowhere. Got hit with the Demonic Purge from our Shadow Demon. There was a charge there, but too many people around. And Lin going to go ahead and back off. 6-6 now. And yeah, like I feel like CDEC has the potential to blow this game wide open, though, with one good fight. They just have those 2 huge ultimates in the split and the Ravage. You get off, if the first usage of those is clutch and you get 3 or 4 kills, all of a sudden LV's going to be playing from way behind, just trying to protect that Morphling while he farms up.
And Panda just got enough money for his Blink. Right, he can go buy it right now if he wants to. He's showing himself right now. Maybe he just wants to give him the illusion that he's not close to it or something. But yeah, I agree. I think that CDEC's team fight is just vastly superior to LV's. And we could see if they don't fight them right now, yeah, LV should just totally dodge. Like, they have no chance winning a fight right now. So they need to just give that up. Split push mid, back off when they show up mid, then go farm bottom. Just split the map up because they have no business taking a fight right now.
Gonna try to trade as the Exorcism is used in mid. TP is gonna be coming in. There's going to be a Demonic Purge on the Inflame. Ties right there. We'll get off the Ravage. Got 3, 2 on the low ground, 1 on the high. Inflame's there with DDC. And now the follow-up as ZYF has come back in. The Razor in the meantime trying to pursue them out. Lin was charging in. Still the ulti and the blink on Maybe. Blink up in 2 seconds. Let's see if he wants to go in blind. He might. He's going to try to get in a position to dive here. ZYF's right there with him. Let's see if he'll be spotted. He will. He's going to have to make up his mind now. He's silenced, though. And now the follow-up going to be blown up after the overgrowth. Demons is there, and he does get the split off. Now they're going to try to turn this around. In the meantime, the Skywrath Mage died from behind. CDEC has the Razor lashed onto that tree. And they end up bringing down 3 from LV behind the fight. We see ZYF going to try to waveform to safety. Lin's right there with him. Not going to be able to do much to protect him. Now has charge up, though. Ulti is available as well. He's going to charge to try to buy time. Inflame doing what damage he can to try to turn it around. And now re-engaging. Lin, though, eating so much damage from the Eye of the Storm. And CDEC just continues to roll. And this is what we were talking about. CDEC, with the turning it around, the Ravage was not timed well in any kind of synergy with those team fight abilities, but they come out way ahead, make it 10-7 now, and I have no doubt. Yeah, you take a look at that. CDEC now off to a big rocket upward in terms of gold and experience both.
Yeah, it wasn't timed well with other spells, but it still hit a lot of things. It like kept them in place, so to speak, to give the rest of the heroes some time to catch up. And that was scary too, because that was the Razor fighting with nothing but with treads, and he had just a bracer at the time. And now he's going to complete a drums. This is why this hero is just picked up first all the time. It's so strong with very little amounts of farm, and then just becomes even more stronger exponentially with good farm. And once you get the Ags up too, you can become a tower pusher. So I think CDEC's draft right now, looking at it entirety, is just so much better from start to like they have the Morphling problem to deal with in the late stages of the game, but I think that's the problem with Morphling. It takes way too long. Yep. And the problem too is I like Spirit Breaker, but he likes to team fight. He likes to fight in chaotic fights, but the rest of LV, they just have no place taking team fights.
Lin coming in, and he's going to be charging the Shadow Demon. Going to catch it from behind. Here comes the rest of the team. Follow up, and he's blown up immediately. Behind that, there's going to be an overgrowth. Demons gets off the Leech Seed onto the Razor, and the Mystic Flare off the mark. Razor doing what he can. ZYF morphing into strength. They end up going 1-for-1. They lost the Skywrath Mage in exchange for the Shadow Demon. But Ravage was not expended.
Yeah, there's a Ravage up, and I wonder if they go back in here. Panda Split is up in 14. That must be what they're waiting for.
Yep. And LV needs to pick their shot here. If they hang around, they're going to pay for it. Ravage still there. And 3-3-3 trying to just bully his way up towards that tower. There was a TP out behind that. There's Maybe and Q. And they may flank.
They need to get out of here. The Exorcism just went down.
Ooh, they want to re-engage. This could go so bad or so well. Here we go. There's the clap and the split. In the meantime, Spirit Breaker's coming in, but it's way too late. Inflame dies for free. 3-man Ravage on the way. Caught DDC just as he was retreating, and LV is on the route. Skywrath Mage dies for the second time in as many minutes. In the meantime, Spirit Breaker caught by Maybe from behind. That's going to be a 4-man wipe.
Ooh,
as
nice
he comes back down to a world of pain. ZYF is actually still hanging around. He's got caught from behind, gets hit with the lightning. Let's see if they want to chase. They do. There's the gush. Now the follow, Maybe right up front. They've got him hemmed in. Is this going to be? Could it be a full 5-man wipe? CDEC does exactly what we thought they could do, blows the game wide open in convincing fashion.
There was just miscommunication from the team. You could obviously tell LV, like, Inflame was sitting around there, but some of them were like, no, I'm out. And then he was kind of poking around like, maybe we can defend this because there was a living armor on the tower. So, I want to still defend. But they had, like I said, no business fighting. And to be honest, they have no business fighting for the next 20 minutes. Like, they just need to farm. This is not a team fighting team. This is like, I don't really know what this is, to be honest. I mean, I like Treant. I like Spirit Breaker. These are heroes that provide extra oomph in like weird small engagements, but these are not like big AoE team fighter heroes. These are like small pick off, I'm gonna blink at you with another hero like Puck and then get on out of there type of heroes. But also DP, I feel like we're seeing a little bit of the nerf. Oh, hold that thought, as Inflame is in trouble yet again.
Yep. Gets off the silence, but it's not going to matter as the right... I don't know.
Ooh.
Tree Armor's there, and the Mystic Flare buying a little bit of time.
Okay.
Blink up in 1 second from the Tide, not going to dive it. Neither ulti available. And yeah, that's just... Oh, now he's going to go along with maybe. They synchronize, and the big boys lead with the chest. Inflame now once again in some trouble. Caught with the Demonic Purge. Now once it turns around, there's going to be an Overgrowth that catches 3-3-3 from behind. Disruption, Lin comes in, hits with the charge, and the Tide able to blink away. So they end up losing just one. That could have been much worse on both sides, I feel. But both able to mitigate the damage just a bit. Now, what's nice about this, if LV can keep doing this, they obviously didn't come out anywhere near ahead, giving up 1-0. But if they just need to make space for ZYF, let him farm. He's still got a ways to the Lincolns, and they're going to need that and a whole lot more to be effective. Now, Lin caught with the gush. The blink from Tide was there. He will go ahead and charge himself to safety, though.
Oh, it could have been disrupted, possibly, from Shadow Team. I don't know if it just came up or something, but... They just lack us. They have a severe lack of damage on LV. The only person that really does damage, actually, Inflame in trouble yet again. The split will be expended. Living Armor. Oh, a huge Ravage.
Ravage. Got two. The tree wasn't caught, but he will be tossed in the air by the storm aspect of the split. Inflame dies, gets off a Crypt Swarm on his way out, but Demons hit with the rock from behind. Let's see how much they want to commit to bringing him down. Not a lot so far, and yeah, we'll just see maybe blink away. In the meantime, Lin's got eyes on him. Will charge him. Has the ulti available and will expend it. Doing what damage he can. Good Mystic Flare. Is it enough? He's silenced maybe, and they're trying to track him down. They finally, maybe. Yes, finish him off. Didn't want to speak because I honestly couldn't have told you. Yeah, exactly. As soon as it came out of my mouth, I think my brain had a reset moment. It's like, yeah, that word is used different ways. 19 minutes in, and we have C.DEC repeating the success that LV had in Game 1, doubling up the competition and taking this game into their hands. They lose a little bit of ground there, but I don't think it's going to be enough to make them worry.
Not at all. Not at all. And yeah, it's just the name of the game is just superior team fight here for C.DEC, and they still, at the same time, although their team fight is superior, they don't have any problem, too, just sitting back and farming, because I feel like Razor has still got a ton of room to grow. His Ag, he actually has enough for his Ags. He's got the 3 components in his stash, and he has enough for the point booster if he wants it. So that'll be a huge boost to their damage output, specifically on buildings. But like I was saying, the damage output is only pretty much coming from the Skywrath. Like, other than that, they really don't have much. It's like the Skywrath and the Waveform. and that's about it. So where's the damage going to come from if those heroes and abilities aren't ready to be deployed?
Well, Lin making his way towards mid. Wanted to see if he wanted to engage on maybe. Down at bottom, that tier 1. Finally looking to drop. But there's the Lincolns done on the Morphling. 20-minute Lincolns, not the fastest I've ever seen, but certainly could have been worse given the way that C.DEC just ran them over for about a 4 or 5 minute stretch there. And if he can continue to get his items up, I feel like they're going to have a pretty decent chance. They have the ability to call on some very powerful silences among anything. Obviously, Death Prophet with hers, and the Ancient Seal from the Skywrath. So if they just have the ability, as you said, to augment what little punching power they have with some physical damage output from that Morphling, I feel like they have the tools to shut down C.DEC if they're on top of their team fight.
Yeah, also another thing is that the Shadow Demon is very good against certain heroes in LV. There is a charge here. He hasn't stopped just yet. Could possibly see an engagement. Ooh. Oh, Mystic Flare off the mark.
Yep, and now we're going to see good disruption. Keeping him alive. There's going to be an overgrowth that catches a few from behind. Splitters on the mark. Demons has to pull back. In the meantime, Lin going to work on that Leshrac, but eating too much damage. But the Razor very low as well, and they're continuing to charge this out. Maybe's there. Has split if he needs it. Doesn't want to use it quite yet. Trying to catch up to Inflame. Will he be able to do so? He's moving quick. And now going to split just to make sure that things happen as he sees the ulti did expire, so she was going to be healing up. Skywrath tossed it in the air via the Storm aspect behind the fight. There's a courier way in the middle of the fight of all things. They need to get that the hell out of there. In the meantime, the fight rages on behind. One TP out with very little HP is enough to ensure at least one survival, maybe reassembles, and now Inflame, who didn't die amidst all of it, next to ZYF. Yeah, looks like I was going to say they could try to re-engage, but opting not to do so. So a bit of a wonky fight that time around. Turns doesn't really go that strong in either direction, though, as we remain at 20-10. C.DEC still doubling up LV.
Yeah, I think the Ravage is what was missing there. It seems to be the kind of deal breaker here for LV in these fights, and he wasn't there. He's farming up mid, and actually the Metrics, he actually is charging just a range creep and then gives him a little love tap. But the Metrics, as far as the net worth, it looks like LV is actually not doing too badly. The Morphling is creeping up. It's actually pretty much neck and neck. with the Razor. I still fear when this Tide gets enough farm, if he gets a double Ravage, that LV's going to be in a world of hurt, but they're keeping this DP alive with a living armor. She does finally have her Yules up, so ways to elongate the team fight.
Will be an Ethereal Blade build for the Morphling, as he's already got up the Ghost Scepter. Tier 1 in mid, drops for free, not contested at all. Maybe in the meantime, he's got 2,800 gold. All to himself. We'll see if he wants to go with a Scepter. One would imagine that'll be the item choice, but ZYF has been left to his own devices for a long time, and he's making up a lot of ground. He's going to get a solo kill on a tower on top of everything else. So in terms of his net worth, despite how poorly the game is going for the vast majority of the rest of the map, wherever he's been for the last few minutes has been very safe, and he's kept himself even ahead of the Razor now.
Yeah, and if he gets enough farm to the point where he could one-shot like the Panda, then LV clearly can take this game back. I mean, Morphling's capabilities in the late game are always, like, no one questions it. It's just the fact of getting there is the problem. And while they did have a rocky start, yeah, his farm is pretty damn good. I'd like to see this Ghost Scepter come out for him immediately. I think the name of the game, I would like to see maybe even a BKB on him, because the problem with him is getting into these fights is fearing the Ravage. Like, the Ravage can really screw up his rhythm and screw up his time. There's another charge out coming on to, where is it? It's a Shadow Demon, actually.
Yeah, that's been the target they've wanted to charge when they want to fight anyway. Demons is there, has Overgrowth.
Doubt he'll go into this. Yeah, he cancels it.
Notice something, by the way. I don't know if it's super valuable, but was entertaining for me to notice that whenever he went to charge the Razor from across the map, Static Link still, or Unstable Current still proc.
Right.
So the Razor should know every time, if he's watching very closely, every time he's going to get charged, no matter from what distance he happens to be charging. TPs are coming in now to the tier 2 bottom, and that's going to be enough to force CDEC back. So the map, but again, every time this happens, every time they make a move and LV rotates and goes, no, you can't come here. And so long as the Morphling's doing his own thing, which he has been for the last while now, they're going to be happy. I mean, hell, he's not far. He's like 1,000 gold from an Ethereal Blade, man.
He is farming very, very well for himself. And if they do take this late and they're able to bring this back, is the curve is starting to go in their favor just a little bit. Definitely still in favor of CDEC, but it's not feeling like that so much anymore as it was 5 minutes ago. And yeah,
you just look at the efficiency. The downward slope tells you that for the last 5 minutes or so, the activity on the map has not been favoring CDEC.
I think it'd be pretty impressive if they were to bring this back and actually win this, just because last game we saw them run this hyper-aggressive, early game-oriented lineup. Kind of really peaked in the mid game, but this game is much more suited towards the late game with the DP and the Morphling. If they're able to come back from a very rocky start and still win it in the late game, it really shows just how strong a team is. I think you can really gauge just the strength of a team by how far they're down, but able to still bring it back and still just be comfortable enough to take things late. I think it says a lot about a team.
Tier 2 mid now, going to be the target. They've got 333 up front, has Ravage at the ready, Mech as well, 1,800 gold, has picked up a casual cloak. Top, Inflame is there, pushing along with ZYF. Looks like they might just try to trade, and they're going to get that tier 2 very quickly. Now here comes Mass Reaction. Maybe he's going to engage. ZYF is going to make it out. And if they lose Inflame, it's going to be bad, but not the end of the world. He's actually doing a ton of damage. He does get cleaned up, but not before nearly killing that Tidehunter. And they're not going to be able to find anyone else as they rush up top lane. The Morphling getting away there is actually a very big deal. Like, basically, Ethereal Blade's done. He went from being super slow and having a couple of kills that kept him in it in top lane. Then the map seemed to collapse around him as CDEC just took control with all of those teamfight ultimates. But since then, he's just been slow and steady, man, and he's still right there with a 9-1-5 Razor.
I think Inflame needs to take some deep breaths, some very deep breaths. Like, I feel like when they were pushing right there, the Morphling's like, dude, I have ways to get out. You do not. So, and you can get caught up sometimes when you're with a team or with someone with an escape mechanism and like, oh, I'm with him. They can't both go on us. But yeah, he needs to position. Yeah, he needs to position himself a lot more carefully. There's been so many times where he's been picked up where he has no business speeding up that far, or just dying in general. So, deep breaths, man, deep breaths.
Tier 2 drops elsewhere. That's going to be the second of 3. So only one remaining outer tier tower standing for LV. And this is a very important one near their jungle. The tier 2 top means the map going to be cut off a bit for this Morphling. And he does have his Ethereal Blade done, though. That combined with the silences we had talked about, combined with the power of Ancient Seal, that, I mean, they have the damage potential now. They absolutely do. They have to make sure that they're taking the fights on their own grounds, though. CDEC just has such a punishing team if they're unable to blow up at least one of Brewmaster or Tide. Like, they can eat a Ravage and be okay. They can deal with the split so long as there's not a Ravage. We've seen them do okay whenever those abilities weren't together. So that's going to be their number one job. Bring one of the two big boys down.
Razor must have purchased something just now because he's had okay, it was a BKB, full BKB. Yeah. So I was going to say that the silences are fantastic, as you mentioned, but we have 2 new BKBs coming up for CDEC. Panda did go for a BKB over an Axe. He's being charged right now. He blinks away. He'll be fine. He goes for a BKB, which I think is smart, and the Razor also gets a BKB. And the Razor, did he lose his streak? Or did he die like really early on?
No, he died early on.
Okay. Because I thought, yeah, he had a godlike streak.
Yep.
But, yeah, so these are 2 humongous pickups, especially against the Ethblade, now that the Ethblade's been changed to, like, a range, like a slower projectile. It's not instant anymore. Mm-hmm. So you can do, when you have BKB, it becomes a lot easier to deal with.
That's the last outer tier tower brought down by CDEC. And they now lead the game, not just in gold and experience, but they also still have all 3 of their tier 2 towers standing. So how do you feel about LV at this point? We both have been kind of singing their praises on and off about how well they've managed this, and hang on, ZYF might go. And yeah, he's got an invis. He's going to try to engage on maybe as soon as this charge connects. No, he actually canceled it. So not liking the way it looked. Yeah. He's still by himself, and he's going to get eyes on 2 from CDEC, and it's going to be 1 Squishy and 1 Tough Boy.
They really want to just blow this Shadow Demon up because this here was disrupting, like, literally the entire team fight for them. They can't charge anyone in. They can't focus anyone down with the Skywrath or even the... no, he's actually going to go on the Leshrac. He's really committing to this.
Yep, and he's going to just TP away. Wanted to go for it, and when it didn't work out, just immediately bailed out. So
that was really risky because he went in and there was a disruptive or a defensive disruption. They could have just forced staffed and disrupted him and he would have been dead. Very weird plays this game, I must say, from both sides.
Blink up on the tree now. Little mobility for them. And looks like CDEC's ready to try to choke this map off. They've got their Tide Hunter pushing in top. Maybe makes his way into the jungle. And the other 3 milling about towards mid lane. They're going to send ZYF out. Has a replicate to go to if he needs to. And he's at least going to get a quick Surge of farm here. But do you think that LV, like, should they be playing passively like this, or should they be trying to get a pick?
Well, the passive game seems to not be working out at this stage. It was working about 5 minutes ago, but the accumulation of gold is coming up so much better for CDEC. Or 333 almost has his Shivas. He's actually going for Shivas instead of Refresher, which, looking actually at it, is quite nice. The extra armor is really good against the DP Ghosts, and just having the extra vision from the Shivas is always helpful in slowing them down, obviously. I think it's a fine pickup. I don't think you necessarily need the Ravage 2 times this game. It's always nice, but Shivas is good too. But the point still stands that they're farming more on the side of CDEC.
Big fight could be upcoming. Charge onto the Razor. And now they're going to go in. Got a 2-man clap. Let's see if he wants to split. Not quite yet. BKB and ulti up on Inflame. He'll be forced to have to save. There's going to be an overgrowth, and the Mystic Flare actually whiffs. So pulling the trigger way too quickly. Now they're going to follow it up. There's that big E-Blade shotgun bringing down the Shadow Demon. But as soon as this ultimate's over, with nothing expended of value on the side of CDEC, they lost their Shadow Demon. They could just go back in if they want to. I guess the Brewmaster did use his BKB. And yeah, that's going to be enough. They didn't use Ravage or Split, but not wanting to engage 4-on-5, let alone with your Brew out of BKB. So for the moment, LV holds the line.
See, now I'm second-guessing myself and thinking, why didn't he just go for Refresher? Because if he goes for Refresher, he can just go in there, balls to the wall, and not worry about it, at least for 1 Ravage. You just blink in, Ravage, you don't even have to know if there's heroes there, you just do it because it takes out the entire screen. And then you can just reset and do it a second time, whether the Exorcism is up or not. It's actually even better if the Exorcism is popped, because then he won't have it if he buys back. So now I'm second-guessing myself and wondering, why didn't he just go for a Refresher? I mean, Shivas is good, but I don't know. I'm not sold. There is still the ultimate up on the Panda, as I don't know. They didn't actually see them go in because the ward expired. So it just expired, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, you can see the remnants of it. They actually walked in, the Morphling replicant, and then he replicated in, but it should have walked within ward vision, I think.
It should have been close. In any case,
That is one
they're gonna
iffy
get a
arrow,
free
I
shot.
must say.
Oh, shush. You try to draw on. How's that? You like that?
No, let me draw this for you how it looked. It was like that. I'm not kidding. That's your arrow, man.
Yeah, that is my arrow, man.
You can see my writing, right?
Yes,
Okay.
I see it. So can our viewers.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying. That
Just
was your
saying.
arrow.
Just saying you're what that looks like. How you like
Okay,
that?
all right.
Anyway, hang on. We're going to see ZYF caught out. He will be able to replicate away. Behind that, we see the fight is going to rage on. ZYF still in some trouble. Have yet to see a Ravage or a split. Lin, in meantime, is trouble. In trouble. That was the most unbelievably broken broadcasting sentence I've ever said in my life. Lin, in meantime, is trouble, is what I just said. Anyway, we're going to have Inflame using his BKB. Now the ulti going to be deploying. They're going to come back in. There's going to be an overgrowth caught too. Can they get maybe? No. Gets off the ultimate, and Inflame just forced to pull back. His ultimate still going, but going to be tossed in the air. Still, though.
Those ghosts
they're
own those
unable to
pandas,
crack.
man. Those ghosts obliterate those pandas when those are the only things being sucked up by the ghosts. So, yeah. The fact that they're still holding is still very good. People underestimate the defense power of DP. I mean, they understand how strong she is in general and how fast she farms, but she's
Right.
also one of the better high ground defense heroes. And if the great thing is, too, for LV is that if CDEC isn't, if they don't break this and actually win a fight and actually kill that tower, look, it's already back to full HP. It was almost dead 2 engagements ago.
Just the effect of a tree. You have to commit fully. And so far, LV has done an excellent job. And we were talking about it a while ago when they were making space for the Morphling to get to where he is now. I mean, net worth-wise, he's still atop the charts. Atos done on the Death Prophet. But this time, they may be in a bit better shape. That Ravage has yet to be expended. The split was used in that last fight. It'll be back up in just short of a minute.
I don't like what Morphling did right there. He just sent in a 50-second duration Treant replicate. I think he could have utilized that a little bit better. But that's down, so he's going to have to TP back. And oh, here we go. Possibly.
Moving in tower at about half health. They're pulling back. There's going to be the charge, and oh no, disruption there buys him a little bit of time. Meantime, ZYF with that BKB doing work. Shadow Demon stayed alive, going one-on-one with that Razor. Ravage is still up, but the BKB is going to keep him from using it. They'll be down in just a minute, though.
The best
and,
Lord.
Beautifully timed, tossing him into the air. Now they're going to use it. They get 3, but the follow-up is lacking. Lin now charging out and catching the Lesh. Somehow, LV manages to win yet another fight at their own Tier 3. That tower will remain standing, and again the Morphling walks away with not just the one fight, but a couple of kills under his belt. 2,500 gold in his own bank. That tower gonna be healed up, and honestly, this has got to be a moment of panic. Hang on, maybe. Never mind. Thought Lim was charging him. He's gonna walk right up to him. That's a little odd. He's got split. Lin's just walking away. Maybe gonna clap. And
He's probably waiting to time the TP if he needs to for the split. And now he's see right there. He's looking at other lanes to charge in case he's in trouble. But I guess he's trying to bait out a split or something. But yeah, this is very scary. Like I said this before, I was really happy to see that the Morphling picked up a BKB, because when the static link is down from Razor, if he doesn't get any damage off, like a sufficient amount of damage, you saw Morphling just trade auto attacks. I mean, he did have the Aegis, of course, but even if he didn't have the Aegis, I don't think it would have mattered. I think he would have done the same thing. And this Razor actually can't stand up to this Morphling anymore. And this is with the Aegis, man. So the comeback is real here for LV, and it's making them look quite impressive.
Well, to be honest with you, I mean, we talked about this. As dominant as CDEC looked, as well as they were able to control these fights, experience-wise, LV's actually in the lead now for the first time all game. But in terms of gold, they never really pulled ahead the way their momentum and kill score would dictate that you would think they would. I mean, they were able to bring down towers, they took map control, but since then, LV has just played as patient a game as you could possibly ask for with a team like this that has to be so precise in their movements and in the way in their chains of initiation. And I'm really impressed with them. CDEC wanting to bring it into that. They're going to smoke very aggressively right up mid. No one's home, though. They're going to head down through the secret shop down at bottom. We see Inflame and ZYF's there. Replicate's about to wear off, but he has it off cooldown. So he's going to go ahead and rush forward. Now, he doesn't have a Replicate out. 15 seconds on that. Let's see how they want to handle this. He may just die here.
I mean, he can't just BKB TP if he needs to, but he'll be fine for the time being. Yep, and it's plays like that it looks scary and like, oh, dude, you need to back up. But that actually matters a lot because they wasted so much time in trying to kill him. So it's almost like you want them to try to go for you, and then
Yep.
use your talent to actually time things correctly and TP out at the right time and dodge spells and waste their time, because that's what Dota is about, man. It's about wasting their time and gaining more parts of the map. And every little bit of that counts, and that's why LV's bounced back nicely. Morphling, the Aegis has expired, and he's got another 4K on top of what he's got. So, yeah, very nice turnaround.
What do you think is the item pickup?
I think Manta would be really good
Yeah,
here.
I was thinking the same thing.
Just to be able to get out of things and just create more confusion. The thing about Morphling...
Demons picked off. Yep, I got there just in time to see it taking place. We were too busy talking about the carry to
Theory
notice
crafting.
the support. Yeah, exactly. Because I'm so good at it.
The thing about Morphling is that since he gives himself so much agility, so many stats, your Lucians benefit greatly from stats. And I mean, this hero gets more agility than any other hero in the game. So yeah, I think Manta would be good, although he could go for something else. Maybe Scotty is also good, gives you more stats. We'll have to wait and see.
ZYF once again prompting a reaction. That time the top lane, the Razor showed up. And that honestly kind of, I don't know if it was going to be a full-fledged push, but they were showing themselves down that bottom lane and maybe looking to make something happen. Speaking of, here comes the charge. Lin onto the Shadow Demon. There's a Tide right next to him. He's going to spot them both. There's a disruption. And now they're going to try to re-engage. Maybe hits the clap. There's a BKB behind that. ZYF does not want to come into this Demonic Purge through the Magic Community. Blade Mail's there, and now he's going to wait for him up, puts himself in the middle of the fight. Lincoln's will be popped, trying to blow up that Shadow Demon, unable to do so far. Does manage to replicate away and make it back to the safety and succor of his team. But CDEC, once again, holding on to their big abilities and unable to get a kill. And I think, like, when you really look at the way this is played out, it's LV's force, and when they do force these big abilities out, yeah, they give up a thing or two, but basically CDEC has to use them and put them on cooldown, otherwise not a lot happens. Now they're going to have another chance. ZYF's there, uses the BKB, just going to continue to walk backwards. TP off cooldown right this second. Here comes Lin. There's going to be the S-Blade charge, expended for a little bit of damage, but ZYF once again remains safe.
Well, so far they've baited 2 BKBs and haven't used Split nor the Ravage, so I think that's fine. That first charge from Lin was kind of awkward. I don't think he needed... Oh, more action.
Yeah, there's a fight. Silence on to Maybe, and the Exorcism used as well. Inflame out there on his own. Now, they're not going to have this, and this is going to be with Split and Ravage ready to go. They did manage to force his BKB out, and the Assault Cuirass was completed not long ago for him. So the team fight on both sides, it's like a dance, man. It's like a tango. Like both teams just trying to bait out more and more cooldowns before they fully commit. And so far, at least in the last few minutes, both teams have been doing an immaculate job. That's why we haven't seen any of these potential fights turn into big fights. And Inflame just going to walk forward before he uses BKB, gets off the silence, and we're going to have a charge coming in from the backside. Shivas is done in the meantime. In the meantime, there's going to be the Shadow Demon brought down from behind. Lin using that Blade Mail, doing what damage he can. Here comes Inflame, and here comes the rest. It's going to be a Ravage, though. That's expended on nothing. And Inflame, now with the Shivas. Mystic Flare's there. 3 times silence onto that Tide Hunter. He can't do much. Razor sapped a lot of damage, but can't do it by himself. Tide now being teed off on by ZYF. Behind that, we see Q doing what he can on the Lesh. And there's going to be a charge onto the Razor as well. And that Lesh in some trouble. He's silenced and eating a lot of right-click. There's going to be the waveform through. And Lin back into the fight with the charge. Blade Mail is up. A lot of damage being sucked off of that Morphling by the Razor Static Link, though. And Lin probably going to die here and will. Ends up being a 2-for-3 exchange. They lose the Spirit Breaker and the Tree. Bring down the Tide +2 supports on the other side. And another, again, just these fights are getting more and more drawn out as both teams have to deal with cooldowns, have to deal with not wanting to blow their load too early. Who do you think? I mean, we could talk about kills or whatever else, but in your mind, how important was that fight for both sides, and which team do you think did the most work?
I think LV came out fine. I think CDEC needed to capitalize on the fact that 2 BKBs were down for quite some time, and the Exorcism just wore off and then didn't do anything. And at the same time, they had everything ready. They had the Ravage ready, they had the Split ready, they had BKB Razor ready. They were ready to fight, but the Ravage whiffed, man. I mean, he cast it on a replicate. I don't know if he knew it was a replicate, but it was, even if it was a one-man Ravage, if that was his mind, if it was a real hero. It needed to be a better Ravage, and they needed to understand that they should have been following around the DP as soon as his ulti was starting to wear off, because the DP was like trying to force something, because he's like, crap, I used my ultimate, I want to make something of it, but he couldn't. And they should have understood that, floated around the area, and then just destroyed him as soon as they were all ready to.
DDC spotted. TP's away. Had some help on the way, but Maybe. Jumping the gun a little bit. Forced Morphling just continues to farm unbelievably. He's going to go Butterfly. He's got yet another Eagle Song already in his inventory, and that Butterfly should be done by the time the next big engagement takes place. Roshan, though, has Respond with a DD up on the Razor. Looks like that's where they want to head. This is just going to be something that I think LV is going to have to give away. That Butterfly would have been nice to have 60 seconds ago, but with Roche already at half health, I think they're going to be hard-pressed to get in and stop this.
Yeah, the Butterfly is good, giving you extra agility for more damage on your F-Blade, so that's fine. But this Roche is pretty big, actually. I think this is going to make... I mean, obviously he's not as good of an Aegis carrier as he once was before the patch, the Razor, that is.
Yeah.
But he's still fantastic with the Aegis, and the fact that he's one of those heroes that can just hit the tower, and you don't want to go on him, because it's just kind of a waste of time. It's similar to like a Viper. There is an aggressive charge here coming out, and they know that Tide's not there.
Here we go. BKB in time, though, is maybe right out front by himself. There's going to be the Shivas. It's thrown off. Exorcism used, but the split goes off as well. There's going to be the F-Blade charge onto the Razor. Behind that, we see the Lesh being pursued by Inflame and the damage being done. There's a charge, and he is tanky. Had that Bloodstone, has a fair amount of charges in it now. The Panda aspect's in some trouble. There's going to be an overgrowth, and yeah, this is just a flat-out, not kind of win.
Ooh, nice blink.
Good blink, but I don't think yeah, there's the silence and the slow. What do you say? They just flat out caught them with their pants down, and the creep wave not far away. They may well get a tower out of this on top of a 3-for-0 exchange that cost them almost nothing.
Yeah, that's a combination of a couple of things. It's one, CDEC got a little complacent after they got the Aegis. They're like, all right, we got the Aegis, they're not going to fight us. And then they showed Tide top, and the rest of them were floating around this ward. And at the same time, they didn't have any wards seeing where LV was coming from. They came from the center here, in an awkward direction. And they just, yeah, like you said, caught them with their pants down. They needed to back off once they were showing the Tide top.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of back off in Flame, keeping everyone's attention for a while, playing very greedy and getting a few extra CS. Guess who's farming? And up to 3k gold more after just finishing a Butterfly mere minutes ago.
Wow.
This is where you could not afford to be if you were CDEC. You cannot afford to have a Morphling be able to do this. Moves in, there's going to be a disruption, maybe biting off more than he can chew. Nah. BKB plus Morph Strength, he's fine. Makes it away, but you know, that's the way he can play now. I mean, his damage output is only going to continue to go higher and higher.
Yeah, and I think BKB in games where there's nothing to disrupt a TP is essential and very strong too. Like, there's nothing to disrupt a BKB TP, so that means you can play as aggressively as you want to if you have a BKB. Because the physical damage output of bursting you down when you BKB is not really there. Like, it's pretty much the Razor. Like, that's about it. And Razor actually went for a Scythe, by the way.
Yep.
He has a Perseverance.
Casual Perseverance.
Yeah, he has a Perseverance just sitting in his stash, but he wants a Scythe. They want to burst this or take this Morphling down, and I gotta say it's probably the right call. Like, if you kill the Morphling, I'm pretty sure you win the fight, so.
Oh, yeah. Well, CDEC had a big window of opportunity. Speaking of the Morphling, get some damage done. Here comes Demons in. There's going to be a disruption from the Shadow Demon. Charge is still on. And Razor going to be able to get a Hex onto Demons, and that's a free one. That's a gem on the ground as well, so that's actually a pretty big misstep. They pursued that out way too long. Lin was not close by at all. And sticking with that charge and sticking with the idea of trying to get a free pick and instead cost them a Treant Protector of their own. He does have buyback if they need it, and they, never mind. Well, they're going to back off.
Yeah, Morphling's pressuring top nicely. As long as they keep this lane, and then actually Death Prophet's pressuring bottom, so as long as they keep this pressure, they can't go for any trades of mid, and they're going to catch off. They're going to catch off the Razor, and he has the Aegis.
No!
They need to get everyone here right away, but Lesh is lagging behind. Razor could be dead a second time.
What a misstep, and now the Shadow Demon comes in and feeds. There's going to be a Ravage, but desperation is the name of the game. They're going to try to pursue him out. Razor's going to drop regardless. ZYF just chopping wood on CDEC as they came in to try to save their man. It's going to cost them everything. 3 are down. ZYF adds 3 more kills to his tally, and LV, who has trailed the vast majority of this game in one form, fashion, or another, has taken control and are ready to go to work down mid. That's going to be a Spirit Breaker with an Assault Cuirass of his own. And ZYF, what an animal at this stage of the game. 13-2.
That was a really nice silence by Inflame. The BKB was just fading at the same time the Panda was activating the ult, caught him in mid-animation, and actually silenced him. I think he probably would have died anyway, and probably would have ended up wasting the Panda ulti, but it was still a nice display of skill from Flame. There is actually no buyback from either of these two.
Yep.
So this is going to be Rax. And there's no Rabbit. Yeah, this could possibly be the game, actually.
I think so. They're going to come back up. Ravage won't be available, but Split will. Ravage is going to be 80 seconds on cooldown. They're going to be able to bring down this tier 3 quick.
20 seconds is an eternity when you have a Morphling this far. He's hitting for about 350 a pop, an excessive rate. So, yeah, look at that. That's double Rax, and this game just basically got over. Like, with a Razor getting caught off in no man's land up here, that was very questionable.
Well, and look at CYF, just like, yeah, I'm just going to go kill Leshrac now.
Oh, boy.
That's what I'm doing. I'm godlike, so I'm going to go kill Leshrac. That's the general attitude. 26-25. LV has yet to actually take the lead in kills. They've been behind in kills basically since like minute 12, and it doesn't matter. I don't know why I checked that. I just wanted to see how badly Lesh died, I guess. Brought up the fight recap for that. Still getting used to that, actually. This is the first time I've casted with that as like an actual function.
I feel like it screws up a lot, though. Like, I feel like it doesn't get everything you want it to.
Yeah.
So I just kind of try to disregard it and do it in my head.
Well, some of us aren't that good at Dota, so we got to rely on the built-in application. Lin caught out of his charge, and yeah, like, I don't even know what you do. Like, this Morphling is...
I still feel like this Tide needed a refresher before the Shivas. Like, on paper, I was like, oh, okay, Shivas, yeah, good item, and it sounds good and everything. Hex coming out onto CYF, but he gets 4-staff away from a possible static link. And, yeah, kiting him out. F-Blade, oh my god, the F-Blade almost alone, just one shot.
Ooh, may have bitten off a bit here. Here comes Lin, though, going to try to get into the fight. The Razor taking a lot of damage, and Lin getting the ult off, knocks him back. He's got the Blade Mail up. He's going to charge out. Oh, no, good catch. Shadow Demon says, come back. As he's down for 80 seconds now. Does not have buyback, but with CDEC lacking 2 racks, and that fight taking place in the shadow of their own former site of Tier 3. Don't know they can get a whole lot done, except maybe killing a Death Prophet. Gonna BKB, and try to use that extra... Oh, no. Here's the Morphling. Gonna go to work and drop the Razor. And the Shadow Demon once again stays alive. He has been tough to track down, despite how squishy he is. It's not gonna matter. Ravage is expended. That is a waste of a Ravage. Oh, no. Are they going to get him? No way. He has Satanic. Yeah, there you go. I was going to say. He had Satanic and has had it for a while. There's no way they just drop him like that. And, yeah.
That's GG.
GG called. CDEC in control of this game for the vast majority of it. Unable to convert that early game advantage into a win in Game 2 as they fall now 2-0. LV on day 1 gets their first win of the tournament. Well played.
Yeah, really impressive play from the carry player, ZYF, ending with 17-2-3. I would definitely say he's the MVP of this game. I mean, he played out of his mind. Just he had some early kills in lane, which was great. Definitely helped him out. Some very weird missteps from Inflame, which kind of set them and the rest of the team back. And Spirit Breaker did much better in lane than I thought he did, but overall just fantastic play from their carry player. And a couple of big things. I still feel like the refresher would have been much more beneficial on the Tide. Maybe also wondering about why we didn't like a BKB come out from Leshrac instead of the Bloodstone. There's a lot of little things, but overall, just I would just say nice play from ZYF. And like I mentioned, it's always very scary when you have a team that plays so well early game and then can come back in the next game with a totally different lineup, with like the late game oriented lineup. So very nice playing and showmanship in the first game of D2L here from LV Gaming.
Yeah, a little bit of a rocky start for not just CDEC, but for us in that first game. It seems to be, I think everything went relatively smooth that time. Hopefully you guys are enjoying the show, because we're damn well enjoying having you be a part of the show. I'm your host, Aaron A.C. Chambers, live from our downtown studio here in San Francisco. The front end of our 2 best-of-3 kickoff night is now behind us. Second series is going to be coming up soon, about an hour from now. That'll be Invictus Gaming taking on Lay Gaming. Once again, LV down CDEC 2-0. I'm AC, and that's Tralf. You can find us both on Twitter. I'm at AC at AYESEE. He's at Tralf Dota, TRALF DOTA. This is the HyperX D2L. Just a little bit of a teaser. It's not going on right now, but should be going on at some point this week. These awesome headsets